The red G-string dangles from my fingertips. Delicate, lacy, taunting. It feels obscene in my hands. A splash of betrayal against the soft neutrals of my home. It doesn't belong here, but it's here. Ava found them. Our 6-year-old daughter pulled them out of Mitchell's sports bag, her small face scrunching in confusion as she held them up, the bright scarlet lace twisted between her innocent fingers. "Mommy, these aren't yours, right?" "Right, they sure as hell weren't." I gripped the flimsy scrap tighter, feeling the delicate threads bite into my palm, wishing they were his skin, something I could rip apart. Mitchell stands across from me, leaning against the kitchen counter, arms crossed tight over his chest like that'll hold him together. His eyes don't meet mine. They never do when guilt has caught up with him. "Mitchell," I say, my voice calm. Too calm, the kind of calm that chills the air between us, like the eye of a hurricane right before it tears everything apart. "Care to tell me whose panties these are?" He exhales sharply, dragging a hand through his dark hair, fingers threading roughly at the roots. I used to find that gesture endearing when he was frustrated about work, when he lost his keys, when he couldn't fix the leaky faucet in our bathroom. It was his tell. Now, it's a shield, a stalling tactic while he scrambles to figure out what lie to feed me. But there are no lies left. The evidence is clutched between my fingers. Bright red, barely there, not mine. "Anna, this isn't how I wanted you to find out." His voice is soft, tired, like I'm supposed to feel sorry for him, like his exhaustion somehow softens the blow of betrayal. I lift an eyebrow, waiting, and then the bomb drops. "I'm seeing someone else," he mutters. His hand slides down his face, rubbing at the shadowed stubble along his jaw. "It's serious." The words land like a punch to the ribs. I can't breathe. For a second, the room tilts, the walls close in. I sway slightly, gripping the edge of the counter to steady myself. 7 years of marriage, gone. Just like that. I stare at him, blinking, my vision blurring at the edges. A scream builds inside me, clawing at my throat. Raw and desperate, I want to hurl something at him. Shatter plates, rip curtains from the rods, break this house into pieces just like he's breaking me. But Ava is upstairs, sleeping peacefully in her princess sheets, with no idea that the world she knows is about to fall apart. If she weren't here, I might have burned this house down. Mitchell takes a cautious step closer, reaching out as if he might touch me, comfort me, as if he still has the right. "Anna, say something," he pleads. I lift my eyes to his face and see a stranger wearing my husband's skin. I feel nothing, not love, not heartbreak, just ice. The warmth is gone, the comfort gone. The man I built a life with? Gone. I let the red G-string slip from my fingers, watching it flutter to the floor, a crimson stain against the dark hardwood. "You might want to keep your lover's underwear properly." Say, my voice cold, steady. "Instead of leaving it where our daughter finds it in your sports bag?" Mitchell flinches, his face paling, his lips parting slightly like he's just been punched. Good, let him feel that. Let him taste what he's done. But guilt won't fix this. Guilt won't undo the image of Ava's tiny hands holding those panties. "You don't get to stand there like this hurts you," I whisper, my voice cracking, rage flickering beneath the surface. "Because it doesn't. Not like it hurts me." I step over the red scrap of lace, leave it there on the floor between us, the line neither of us can ever cross back over. And I walk away, my heart pounding, my hands shaking, but my back straight, because my marriage is over. I lock myself in the guest bedroom. The door shuts with a soft click, but it may as well be the slam of a prison gate. I lean against it, pressing my forehead against the cool wood, my breath coming in ragged bursts. My hands are shaking. I feel sick. Outside, I hear Mitchell enter our bedroom. There's a long pause, and then the creak of the floorboards as he comes back out. He tries the handle and realizes it's locked, knocks softly. "Anna, honey, Please, let's talk about this calmly. Calmly, I want to grab the nearest sharp object and stab him. Stab, stab, stab until there's nothing left but regret and silence. But instead, I just stand there, unblinking, my nails digging into my palms. Mitchell should be grateful that I'm calm. He should be on his knees thanking whatever higher power is keeping me from screaming murder into the night. Ava, she's the only reason I don't completely unravel. When I don't respond, he sighs, lingering for a few more seconds before retreating back to our bedroom. The second I hear his footsteps fade, I grab my phone from the pocket of my sweatpants. My fingers are numb as I scroll through my contacts, stopping at one name, Felix. I press the call button. It rings once, twice, then. His familiar voice comes through. Warm, steady, safe. Hey, sis. Lope in my mouth, but the words don't come. It feels like there's something lodged in my throat, like my body refuses to let me say it out loud. Anna? Felix's voice sharpens, shifting from casual to concerned. What's wrong? A choked sob escapes me, then another, and then suddenly, I'm crying. Ugly, gasping sobs that shake my entire body. Felix doesn't rush me. He just waits, silent but present, letting me come apart. When I finally manage to speak, my voice is barely above a whisper. He's having an affair. The silence on the other end is deadly, then a low, dangerous. Are you fucking kidding me? I swipe at my face, my breath's uneven. He says he's in love with her. Felix swears. A string of sharp, furious curses. I swear to God, Anna, if I see him, I'm gonna beat his ass. A shaky exhale leaves my lips. Do you want me to come over? He asks. I want to say yes. I want my big brother to storm over here and rip Mitchell apart, to drag me out of this house and away from this disgusting betrayal. But I can't. Not yet. No. I whisper. Please, don't say anything to Dad, and definitely don't tell Charlotte yet. Felix blows out a breath. Anna, come on. Please. My voice breaks. I want to file for divorce and gain full custody before we disappear. A pause, then another sharp curse. All right, he grits out. I won't say anything, but I'm picking you and Ava up for dinner tomorrow. Yeah? His tone is firm, leaving no room for argument. That little yeah at the end, casual, automatic, makes my throat close up. Felix, my big brother, always looking out for me. I nod, even though he can't see me. Yeah. Whisper. Good. A pause. Then, softer. We'll figure this out. Anna, I promise. I grip the railing as I make my way down the stairs, my legs heavy, my chest aching. I should sit down. I should cry. I should scream. But I can't. I have to keep it together. For her. As I move through the dimly lit kitchen, my mind drifts, pulling me into a memory I don't want to relive. It was just a few months ago. Ava had come home from school, her backpack slung over her tiny shoulders, her pigtails slightly lopsided from a full day of playing. She had tossed her shoes by the door, something I always told her not to do, and ran to the fridge for a juice box. Then, out of nowhere, she had asked, Mommy, are you and Daddy ever going to get divorced? I had frozen, caught completely off guard. Why would you ask that, baby? I had crouched in front of her, brushing a loose curl from her forehead. Because Liam and Harper's parents don't live together anymore. And Lily said that's what happens when mommies and daddies stop loving each other. My heart had shattered. I had cupped her face, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead, desperate to reassure her. That won't happen to us, sweetheart. Mommy and Daddy love each other very much. We'll always be together. She had beamed, relief spreading across her little face. Okay, she had chirped, skipping off like the weight of the world had just been lifted from her tiny shoulders. Now I want to throw up, because I lied to her, because we won't always be together, because Mitchell fell in love with someone else. A choked sob builds in my throat, but I swallow it down, pressing a hand against the counter to steady myself. How do I tell her? How do I look into those big brown eyes, the ones she got from her father, and tell her that the family she trusted isn't a family anymore? The thought alone is unbearable. I feel like Liv failed. As a mother, as a wife, I promised her we'd be different. That she'd never have to sit in a classroom and listen to the other kids talk about weekends with dad and separate Christmases. I swore she'd never be the child who had to pack a bag every other weekend, never the one with two homes instead of one. And yet, here we are. The front door creaks open. Mitchell. I glance at the clock on the stove. 6:12 a. He must have left in the middle of the night and come back, probably to see her and share the great news. Probably said to her, "We are free now, my love. No more hiding, I don't turn around. I don't want to see his face. I don't want to hear his excuses." "Anna." He exhales, his voice soft, uncertain. "Can we talk?" I close my eyes. I should talk to him. I should demand answers. I should rage, but I can't. Not yet. Not while my heart is still in pieces on the kitchen floor. "You should go shower," I say instead, my voice empty. "Ava will be up soon." It's not a request, it's a warning. She can't see him like this. She can't wake up to a home that no longer feels like a home. Mitchell doesn't argue. He just sighs, defeated, and heads toward the stairs. I listen to his footsteps disappear, and when I'm sure he's gone, I let myself break. Silent tears fall down my face, warm and relentless. My chest tightens, my fingers clutching the edge of the counter as I try to keep it together. But there's no keeping it together, because I just lost the man I thought would be my forever. And the worst thing is, I don't know how to tell our daughter that her forever just ended, too. Felix's voice is low, clipped, dangerous. "I want surveillance on him starting tonight," he says into the phone, his jaw tight, his posture rigid. "He'll contest custody, I know it. We need proof. Proof he's committing adultery. Proof that he is unfit." His words cut through the air, sharp and certain. I sit frozen at the kitchen island, staring at him, blinking in disbelief. I know my brother is protective, always has been. But this fierce, relentless determination has made me realize how I have underestimated just how far he's willing to go to protect me, to protect Ava. Felix hangs up, sliding his phone onto the counter. His features soften as his green eyes meet mine, so similar to his, and he opens his arms instinctively. But I can't speak. The words wedge themselves in my throat, thick and jagged. I want to speak. To tell him how grateful I am, but sobs rather rip from my chest without warning, raw and violent, and I can't stop them. My fingers clench tightly around the chipped ceramic mug in my hands as my body trembles, the tears spilling over like a dam collapsing under the weight of it all. Felix is next to me in seconds, gathering me close, pulling me into his arms, pressing my head against his chest. His hand moves slowly, rhythmically over my back, steady and grounding. "I don't know what I would have done without you," I whisper after a while, my voice breaking thick and messy against the fabric of his shirt, wet from my tears. "You'll never have to find out. Anna." His voice is soft, his hand never stopping its slow, calming circles over my back, but I can't stop. The thoughts keep tumbling out, faster than I can catch them. "Where am I going to stay?" I choke out, my breath hitching, my chest squeezing so tight it hurts to breathe. "I can't go back to that house. Felix, I just can't." My fingers twist into the cotton of his shirt, needing something to hold on to, something real. I pull back, but only slightly, tears still streaming down my face. I keep thinking over and over, was she there in my home? Did she walk through my kitchen, sit on my couch, touch the life I built? My voice cracks, and the image of that red lace G-string flashes in my mind. Did they fuck in our bed, on the couch, in the kitchen while I was out visiting you? While I was taking Ava across the country to see Dad? Did they meet at hotel, her house, or her apartment? And those work trips of his, were they really work trips? How long has it been going on for? Was I so blinded by love and was so settled that I didn't notice the signs? Felix's jaw clenches, his arms tightening around me as he exhales sharply, anger radiating off him like heat, but he stays quiet, holding me tighter, letting me empty it all. I can't live there. I gasp, the panic clawing at my throat again. It'll never be home again. Every wall, every room will remind me that I wasn't enough. I can't live there, Felix. It will just be a reminder. I repeat my words, shaking my head, the panic creeping in again. I can't. I just can't. I just... And all these thoughts make me fall apart again. I would have been okay if I had just been alone. But I have a daughter. A beautiful, innocent daughter. The sobs shake me down to my bones. I cry so hard my body convulses, gasping for air between the hiccups, my chest heaving, my nose running. I wipe at it clumsily with the back of my hand, but it doesn't stop. I can't stop. Felix continues to hold me, steady as stone, letting me unravel. But when the sobs finally slow, my hands shaking, my chest still rising and falling too fast. What do I tell her, Felix? My voice is small, barely there. My baby girl. What do I tell Ava? I hiccup, trying to suck in a breath, my throat burning. She knows something's wrong. I whisper, my hands trembling, clutching at my chest. She plays with my makeup, knows every inch of my closet, every piece of clothing I own. That's how she knew those panties weren't mine. My nose runs again, and I swipe at it, my fingers shaking too hard to care. What do I tell my baby girl? The words come out in a broken sob. How do I explain that her daddy... I can't finish. I collapse into Felix's arms again, crushed beneath the weight of it all, and still. Felix holds me, tight, steady, silent, because he knows there's nothing to say. Felix leans back against the counter after I am finally calm, arms crossed, his gaze shifting from my phone still lighting up with Mitchell's missed calls. To me. I am not in the mood to that cheating asshole. He clears his throat, breaking the tension. There's something I've been meaning to tell you, Anna. I glance up, wiping my hands down my jeans, trying to steady my breathing. What? He hesitates, his jaw working, as if searching for the right words. I didn't know when was the right time. And now with everything going on, I can't hold it off any longer. My boss offered me a new position, a promotion. I blink, caught off guard. Felix, that's great, right? He nods slowly. Yeah, it's a good opportunity. The position's at the main headquarters in Toronto. He rubs the back of his neck, the familiar tension of guilt tugging at his features. They want me there full time. Charlotte and I have been talking about it for a while. I stare at him, my heart sinking a little. When? Couple of months, maybe less. He leans forward on the counter, meeting my gaze. I know the timing sucks. I didn't want to drop this on you while you're going through everything. I open my mouth, ready to tell him I'll figure it out, that I can't ask him for more. But he cuts me off, just like he always does when he knows I'm about to do something stubborn. Listen. His voice softens. You and Ava have two choices. You can come with us to Toronto, find a place close by, start fresh there. He pauses, his gaze steady. Or you can stay here, stay in this house as long as you need, until you get back on your feet. I stare down at my hands, processing. The thought of moving feels daunting, another uprooting, another shift. But staying here alone without him and Charlotte feels just as heavy. Either way, Felix adds, his voice firm. I'm not leaving you without options. You have a home, Anna, whether it's in this house or in Toronto. My throat tightens, that familiar lump rising again. I don't know what to say. Felix shrugs, feigning indifference. Say you'll think about it. I let out a shaky breath, biting back the tears that threatened to rise. I'll think about it. He gives a small nod, satisfied. Good, that's all I ask. But even as he speaks, my phone vibrates again on the countertop. Mitchell's name flashing on the screen like a buzzing fly. One just can seem to swat. Felix picks up the phone, glances at it, and mutters, "He doesn't know when to quit." I press my palms against my eyes, the exhaustion seeping deep. If I ignore him long enough, he'll start blowing up your phone. And right on cue, Felix's phone lights up next. I mutter under my breath, "Just don't let him know I'm sitting right here." Felix smirks, grabbing his phone. "I'm not an amateur, Anna." He answers, his tone casual but clipped. "Mitchell, what do you want?" I catch the faint edge of Mitchell's voice on the other end, agitated. Felix leans back, letting him talk, then cuts him off smoothly. "Anna? No, not yet. She said she'd swing by later, probably crashing here for the night." He lets out a thoughtful hum, non-committal. "Why? Something wrong?" There's a pause. Felix listens, his face unreadable. Then he shrugs. "All right, later." He hangs up, jaw tightening as he tosses the phone back onto the counter. Bastard's playing worried husband now. I glance at him, my stomach twisting. "What did he say?" Felix exhales sharply. "Oh, he's real concerned. Can't reach you. Worried about Ava. Whether you have picked her up from school since your car's still in the driveway. Like that makes up for what he's done." His lip curls. You should have heard the tone. Like he deserves answers. I scoff bitterly, shaking my head. "Let him worry. He's earned that." Felix nods, arms crossed again. "Damn right. He has." Felix's 5-bedroom house in Sillery is nothing short of spectacular. A testament to his craftsmanship and reputation as one of the most sought-after contractors in Quebec. He built this house from the ground up, pouring every ounce of his expertise into it, crafting something that wasn't just a place to live, but a statement, a legacy. It sits on a quiet, tree-lined avenue where the homes aren't just houses. They're estates, perched behind wrought iron gates and stone driveways. His home is perched slightly on a rise, offering a sweeping view of the St. Lawrence River beyond the treetops, the kind of view that steals your breath even when your heart is breaking. The exterior is a striking mix of gray limestone and modern timber, blending traditional Quebec charm with sleek contemporary lines. The roof is steep-pitched slate, the kind of detail that whispers wealth without screaming it. Lantern-style lights flank the heavy front doors, casting a warm glow in the evenings. Inside, the ceilings stretch high, the kind of height that gives your soul space to breathe. Oversized windows line the walls, not flimsy glass but solid frames with deep sills, allowing natural light to flood the polished maple floors. The living room opens into the kitchen, a masterpiece of custom cabinetry, dark marble countertops, and a sprawling island where we were currently seated that commands attention. The dining area leads out to a terrace that overlooks manicured gardens and a stone courtyard, edged with a balustrade sturdy enough to feel like a fortress. It's the kind of home that feels secure, permanent, like nothing could ever touch it, much like Felix himself. He was unyielding, steady, and deeply rooted in family. Charlotte, his wife of 2 years, a globe-trotting food critic, brings warmth and vibrancy to the place when she's home. Her laugh fills the rooms, her stories of far-off places and flavors weave through every corner. But tonight, she's taken Ava out to the playground and then for ice cream, with the excuse of auntie-niece outing, hence giving me a moment to breathe while the world feels like it's collapsing beneath me. I know I should refuse Felix's offer. I should insist I'll figure it out on my own, that I'll stand on my own 2 feet, find a place for Ava and me. But I'm tired of pretending I'm holding it together, tired of pretending I have a plan. So instead, I swallow my pride and whisper, "Thank you, Felix." His lips twitch, that small, satisfied smile he tries to hide. He shrugs, feigning indifference. Yeah, just don't get used to needing me this much. My reputation as the family hard-ass can't take it." A choked laugh escapes me, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I smile. You're the softest hard ass I've ever met, I say, wiping at my face. Remember when you cried during The Lion King? Felix narrows his eyes, pointing a finger at me. First of all, I was 8, and second, Mufasa's death was a tragedy. You wouldn't understand. I shake my head, smiling through the sting of tears. You were 13, Felix. He grumbles, but the corners of his mouth twitch. Yeah, well, you're the one who cried over Pushing Daisies getting cancelled, so let's not throw stones. Anna. I roll my eyes, but the heaviness on my chest lifts just a little. Felix leans back against the marble counter, folding his arms. I spoke to a lawyer earlier in the day before I picked you up. He's a friend. I met through work. Reality crashes back in, stealing the ease from the moment. And, I murmur, gripping my now cold cup of tea, the divorce will take 4 to 6 months to finalize. Felix says, his tone steady. But if we get proof that Mitchell is reckless and unfaithful, we can speed it up, maybe even secure sole custody for Ava. The words twist inside me. Custody. I echo softly, my throat tightening. Felix notices, always does. That's what you said you wanted and why I hired a private investigator. We need leverage. I close my eyes, swallowing back the lump in my throat. Felix. No arguments. His voice softens but doesn't waver. You know Mitchell. The second he realizes what he's losing, he'll fight dirty. I won't let him blindside you. I want to say Mitchell wouldn't go that far, but the truth is, I don't know him anymore. Not the way I thought I did. I nod, barely a whisper. Okay. Do whatever you have to do. Felix nods once, satisfied. I knew you'd come around. I shoot him a look. You knew. He grins. Of course. Sibling instinct. I'm the responsible one. You're the disaster. I gasp, swatting his arm. Excuse me, I am not a disaster. Felix smirks. Anna, you once set the toaster on fire making Pop-Tarts. I open my mouth, pause, close it. Okay. I grumble. Maybe occasionally a disaster. Felix leans in, smug. Admitting it is the first step. I roll my eyes, but the smile sneaks back in. A little light in the dark. So I came across this in my Google Docs by chance. I had completely forgotten about it. It is completed, but I am just making a few changes to the story, hence the updates every few hours. I am traveling at the moment and in between flights, so this is keeping me company. We'll try and finish publishing all by Saturday. And the title, Falling Into You, is inspired by Celine Dion's song, Enjoy. I met Mitchell Allen when I was almost 16. He was 18 at the time, already in his final year of high school, and everything about him seemed so mature, so put together, compared to the boys in my grade. Almost 3 years older, tall, confident, and with that easy charm that made people gravitate toward him. He had that same Sammy Pandolfi looks at the time until he reached his early 20s and bulked up a bit. Still good-looking, still charming. I was just a sophomore in high school, still figuring out who I was, what I wanted, and where life would take me. Mitchell, on the other hand, seemed to have it all figured out. He was well-liked, did well in school, and had plans to study marketing and business. But what shocked me the most was how much attention he gave me. He was relentless in the way he pursued me. Waiting outside my classes, finding reasons to talk to me, showing up at my house just to say hi to my dad, and walking me home even when it was completely out of his way. At first, it was cute, flattering, even. But then it became irresistible. By the time I turned 16, I had fallen completely in love with him. We spent the next 2 years inseparable, first love, young, passionate, all-consuming. He made me feel like I was the only thing that mattered. Then, everything changed. At 18, almost 19, I found out I was pregnant with Ava. My dad was furious, not because he hated Mitchell. On the contrary, he liked him well enough, but because he had bigger dreams for me. He wanted me to go to university, to have choices, to build a life before settling down. Felix, on the other hand, never liked Mitchell, They were cordial, but they never got along. Felix always thought Mitchell was too smooth, too good at talking his way out of things. He never said much outright, but I knew he didn't trust him. Still, Mitchell was charming, persuasive, loving. He promised my dad that he would take care of me and Ava, that he would build a future for us. He convinced me that getting married was the right thing to do. And just like that, at 19 years old, I became Mrs. Anastasia Allen. Looking back, I realize how much I let him control me. He was so convincing when he told me I didn't need to attend university. Baby, you don't need to go to university now. I make enough for both of us. Just stay home and enjoy life. It's stressful out there, and I don't want you struggling. Stay home and take care of Ava. I believed him. I think back to how seriously stupid and naive I was. Still am, I guess. I believed him because he treated me like I was the most precious thing in his world, because he was sweet, tender, and attentive, because I thought that was love. But now, I see it clearly. I let him make every decision for me, and somewhere along the way, one lost myself. For years, I had convinced myself that Mitchell only wanted to protect me. Whenever I had brought up the idea of getting a full-time job, he had always dismissed it with a smile, a kiss, and the same tired excuse. Baby, you don't need to work full-time. I make enough for both of us. Just keep doing your little part-time thing. Enjoy yourself, it's stressful out there, and I don't want you struggling. And I had believed him. We had bargained for me to work part-time after Ava was born. I was naturally skilled at graphic designing, so I took on clients online and designed beautiful flyers, logos, brochures, etc. It had seemed reasonable at the time. I was only 19, a brand new mother with no degree, and Mitchell's job paid well enough to support us. But the truth was, I had wanted more. I had asked him, begged him to help me get a job in one of his company's departments, or to even let me ask Felix if he could get me a job at his company, something stable, something with real growth, but every time, he had brushed it off, making it sound like he was saving me from something awful. You don't need to deal with office politics, baby. I've got us covered. Just focus on Ava. Focus on yourself. I had tried to convince myself that this was love, that he was just looking out for me, that he wasn't subtly controlling me, but my eyes are wide open now. I see everything differently. At 21, I had quietly taken an online degree in office administration, completing it without Mitchell ever knowing. I only made him aware of the graphic designing courses I would partake in online. I had told myself it was for Ava's future, that one day when she was a little older, I would find something more stable, something of my own. It helped that he was always on his apparent business trips, so I had time to study. What a stupid fool I have been. So very stupid. If I'm being honest, somewhere deep down, I had been afraid of disappointing him. Now, in the cold, unforgiving light of his betrayal, one realized, this wasn't love, this was control. What if Mitchell's motives had never been about protecting me at all? What if keeping me dependent on him wasn't about love, but about ensuring I never had the chance to walk away? What if he had used my youth, my inexperience, and my trust to ensure that I was always exactly where he wanted me? Waiting for him, trusting him, relying on him. And if he could lie about this, what else had he lied about? What if this affair wasn't his first? What if he had been cheating on me for years? Before we got married, maybe even before I got pregnant with Ava. A fresh wave of disgust rises in my chest, twisting my stomach. A lot of possible women have been on my mind as to who he could be so in love with. But that is not my cup of tea at the moment. Protecting Ava is... I look at Ava, curled up in bed, her little chest rising and falling in steady breaths. Her innocence, her trust, her belief that her parents love each other and that our family is whole. I am about to shatter it all. Thad spent years thinking I was lucky. Now, I realize, I had spent years being played, and the worst thing of all is I let him. I let this happen to me. I kiss Ava's soft cheek one more time, brushing a stray curl from her forehead as she stirs faintly in her sleep, completely unaware that her entire world is about to change. She looks so peaceful, so safe. It's funny how she has not asked about her dad at all. Maybe she knows it is over. She is really a smart kid. It is her peace I have to protect, no matter how broken I feel inside. I press my lips to her forehead again, lingering longer this time. Then I force myself to stand, to leave the guest bedroom, shutting the door softly behind me. When this is all over, when the dust has settled and Mitchell is nothing but like a scar on my skin, I'll take a weekend away. Definitely somewhere quiet, somewhere far from here. I'll scream, cry, maybe even break something or better yet stab a pillow so many times imagining it's him. I will just let it all pour out the way it's threatening to now. But until then, I have to hold it together. I have to be strong, for Ava. I step back into the living room, the weight settling on my shoulders again. Charlotte and Felix are still there, lounging together on the sofa like they belong in some perfect snapshot of love and stability. Her legs tucked in between his thighs, with his hand resting lazily on her thigh. There's a comfort between them, a kind of ease that's felt, not spoken. The love is obvious, unmistakable, and watching it stings. It's amazing, isn't it? How a man can look at you like that with so much love, with all the promises of forever in his eyes, until the day he decides he's done, until you're no longer enough, until you're discarded like yesterday's trash. Charlotte notices me first. Her face softens and she's up on her feet in an instant, crossing the room with purpose. She wraps her arms around me without a word, pulling me close, and I breathe her in. Something warm, something floral, something soft and safe. I'm tired of crying. The tears hover, waiting, but I keep them at bay this time. I just hold on to her, quietly, desperately, grateful for the moment of human connection that doesn't require me to explain myself. She pulls back, her hands resting on my shoulders as she searches my face. "How are you feeling?" she asks gently, leading me over to the sofa. I settle between them. Charlotte on one side, Felix on the other. I feel like a child again, flanked by people who want to shield me from the world, though there's no real protection from this. Felix edges closer, his knee pressing lightly against mine, silent reassurance. "I'm not okay," I murmur, my voice rough with the effort to hold myself together. "But eventually, all will be." Charlotte offers a soft smile, but I see the sadness behind it. She brushes a stray strand of hair behind my ear like she's afraid I might unravel again. "Do you know who she is?" she asks softly. Felix immediately tisks, shooting her a warning glance. "Char, baby, not now." I let out a bitter, hollow laugh. "It's fine." I wave a hand, shrugging. "No, I don't know who she is. Didn't think to ask, didn't want to know. Because knowing might shatter what little strength I have left. Knowing might make it real in a way it isn't yet. But Charlotte, ever gentle, ever kind, doesn't let it go. "You know you'll have to talk to him at some point," she says softly. I feel Felix stiffen beside me. "Over my dead body," he mutters, his tone dark. "We'll proceed with the divorce. No need for conversation." I want to argue, but I know she's right. I can't avoid Mitchell forever. Felix sighs, leaning back but keeping his arm loosely draped behind me. "And, Anna, we're going to have to tell Dad." I wince. The weight of those words settles hard in my chest. "I know you didn't want anyone to know, but you can't do this alone. You need your family now." My throat tightens, because he is right. I've been trying to hold everything together like some fragile house of cards, terrified that if I let even one person in, it would all come tumbling down. But maybe that's okay. Maybe the house needs to fall so I can build something stronger. I let out a long, shaky breath. "Okay, we'll tell him." Felix nods, his expression softening. "Missy Tremblay." The lawyer begins, his tone calm but direct. "We can initiate the divorce proceedings immediately. The required petition can be filed under Quebec's family law statutes, citing adultery as grounds. Given what you've disclosed?" His office feels too polished, too pristine for the mess that is my life right now. The autumn light filters through the tall windows, casting long shadows across the dark wood shelves lined with casebooks. The trees in Quebec City always blaze red and gold in October, but I feel none of that warmth, only the coldness of finality settling in my bones. I nod slowly, grateful that he refers to me as Ms. Tremblay, not Mrs. Allen. The sound of my maiden name feels like a reclamation, like a piece of myself coming back. But, the lawyer continues, adjusting the cuff of his navy suit jacket, your brother is adamant that we wait for concrete evidence of Mr. Allen's infidelity. This could strengthen your position, particularly concerning sole custody of your daughter. However, that process might delay the finalization of the divorce slightly. Surveillance takes time. Felix leans forward, his voice steady, eyes sharp. It's not going to be a problem. He gestures toward me, his protective streak blazing beneath the calm exterior. My private investigator already has dirt on him, and it's been less than 24 hours. If we can start the paperwork now, we'll have more than enough proof ready by the time he even thinks about contesting. The lawyer nods thoughtfully. Understood. If we can present evidence of ongoing infidelity, particularly if your husband has exposed your daughter to this other relationship or shown recklessness in judgment, we can make a compelling case for permanent sole custody in addition to whatever you want. I shake my head, feeling the knot tighten in my chest again. I don't care about the money, the house, none of it. I don't want anything from him, I say, my voice rough but certain. I just want Ava. She's all that matters. Felix exhales, leaning back slightly but still tense. Okay. He agrees quietly. The lawyer laces his fingers together on the desk, his expression softening. We can request that the financial settlement be waived, contingent upon your sole custody claim, that is, if Mr. Allen agrees to relinquish any spousal support negotiations, which I imagine he will once presented with the evidence. Felix smirks faintly. He'll fold, you show him what we have, and he'll agree to whatever terms Anna wants. I press my fingers to my temple, exhaustion pressing against my skull. I never imagined my life would come to this. Discussing custody battles and evidence files, the lawyer continues, professional as ever. Once we file, there's a mandatory reconciliation period under Quebec law. 30 days before the divorce can proceed uncontested, but if we can prove that reconciliation is impossible due to adultery, we can petition to waive that period. Felix nods briskly and asks a couple of questions, but I barely hear them. My thoughts drift again to Ava's small hand in mine, to the way she curled into me last night, trusting me to keep her world safe. I swallow hard. Please, just do whatever you have to do to make sure Ava stays with me. When the lawyer meets my gaze with a reassuring nod. I'll make sure of it, Ms. Tremblay. Mitchell's name lights up on Felix's phone again, the screen buzzing insistently on the polished desk between us. I have blocked him for now, so his only choice is to call Felix. Felix picks his phone up, holding it out slightly toward me. What do you want to do, Anna? His voice is gentle, but his eyes are sharp, protective. I shake my head slowly, the weight of exhaustion pressing into my chest. I don't want to see him, I say vehemently. I'm not ready. The truth curls bitter on my tongue. I'm not sure I'll ever be ready. If I see him now, I might stab him 10 times over, maybe double that for the 10 years I wasted on him, but I keep that thought to myself. Felix doesn't need more reasons to worry about me. He's carrying enough. Felix sighs, running a hand down his face. He's going to demand to see Ava. You know that, right? He'll push, and he won't stop. Especially since you haven't told him about the divorce papers yet. I feel the familiar knot tightening in my stomach. Of course he will. Mitchell always pushes when he doesn't get his way. Ava will be his trump card. Let out a long, weary breath, the fight draining from my limbs. Well, I gesture loosely, my hands falling back to my lap. You've always wanted to give him a piece of your mind, since the day I told you I was pregnant, if I recall correctly. Felix lifts an eyebrow but says nothing. Feel free to let him know you're aware of everything. I continue, my voice growing flat, resigned. Tell him we're staying with you until I calm down. Say whatever you want. Felix, just keep me out of it. Felix smirks, rolling his shoulders like he's warming up for a fight. You sure you want to give me that much freedom? I close my eyes for a moment. I trust you. His grin deepens, that dangerous glint flashing behind his eyes as he answers the call. Mitchell. Mitchell. His voice is flat. Yeah, she's here. She's staying with me. You don't get to ask why? There's a muffled explosion of words on the other end. Mitchell, already on edge. Felix's lips curl into a sneer. You really don't get it. You fucking piece of shit, do you? She told me everything. Mitchell. Anna told me about the affair, about the panties my niece found in your damn gym bag. Another sharp burst of words through the speaker. Mitchell probably scrambling to justify himself, to spin whatever version of the truth he thinks he can sell. Felix leans forward, voice dropping into a quiet threat. Save it. I don't want your excuses. You crossed a line you can't uncross. Mitchell's voice rises, but Felix cuts him off with a vicious edge. You want to see Ava? Sure you do, but not today and not on your terms. He leans back, one hand running over his jaw. Let me make this simple for you, you bastard. You don't get to hurt my sister and then play Daddy of the Year. You see Ava when Anna's ready? Not before. Do I fucking make myself clear? There's more noise on the other end, defensive and loud. Felix's eyes narrow. Go ahead, shout, play the victim. That's what you've always been good at. His voice turns biting. I've waited since she was 18 to tell you this. You've always been a selfish coward. You couldn't handle the kind of woman Anna is. And now you are scrambling because you know you've lost the best thing that ever happened to you. I feel a lump rise in my throat, my fingers curling tightly into my lap. Felix's voice drops again, colder than before. You don't call her? You want anything? You call me. And believe me, Mitchell, I'm not the one you want to keep pissing off. Without waiting for another word, Felix hangs up, tossing his phone onto the couch like it's infected. His chest rises and falls, jaw tight, eyes burning. You're good. Murmur, my voice rough but steady, a flicker of a smile tugging at my lips. Felix shrugs, but there's fire in his eyes. I've been waiting 10 damn years for that conversation. Somewhere down the street, the faint laughter of children floats in through the cracked window. Kids doing trick or treat and still making their rounds, their joy oblivious to the storm inside me. Halloween in Quebec is always lively. The neighborhoods dress themselves up. Orange lights in windows, pumpkins on porches, children wrapped in puffy costumes as they hustle door to door for candy. But here, inside Felix's grand home, the silence feels suffocating. 3 days. That's how long Ava and I have been here, tucked away from the mess I left behind. Mitchell's been quiet, too quiet, like a stray cat waiting outside, unseen but present, knowing eventually you'll open the door. Charlotte sits beside me on the oversized cream sofa, her legs curled beneath her, a warm cup of tea cradled in her hands. I hold my own mug, fingers wrapped tight around it, but the heat barely cuts through the chill that's taken root in my chest. How are you holding up? Charlotte asks softly, breaking the silence, her gaze gentle but knowing. I stare down into the chamomile tea, watching the steam curl and fade. I'm angry. The words slip out before I can stop them. So angry I could burn the whole world down if it would make this feeling go away. Charlotte places her hand over mine, grounding me. I still can't believe he did this to you. I shake my head, the sting of betrayal sitting sharp in my throat. Why does it still hurt so much? I whisper. I thought the anger would be enough to numb it. But the anger only masks the pain. Underneath, it's raw, untouchable. Tears gather at the corners of my eyes, blurring the soft lamplight. I blink them back, but they fall anyway, trailing hot against my cheeks. I feel stupid for crying over him, after everything. Charlotte shifts closer, pulling me into her side. Her embrace is soft, steady, the kind you lean into when you're ready to collapse. "Oh, Anna," she murmurs, brushing a hand over my hair. "You've loved him most of your life. You don't just turn that off. Let yourself cry. You have every right." "He took everything we built," I rasp, my voice cracking. "Every memory, every piece of trust, and he just threw it away. For her." Charlotte holds me tighter. "Because he's nothing. A man who can throw away a marriage like that? He doesn't deserve your tears." But it doesn't stop the ache. The front door creaks open, and the sound of Ava's small voice cuts through the room like a beam of light. "Mommy!" I pull back, swiping at my eyes, forcing the tears away. Ava rushes toward me, her little princess costume crinkling with each step, her plastic pumpkin bucket swinging in her hand. "I got so much candy," she beams, holding up her loot for me to see. I smile, fragile, but real. "That's amazing, sweetheart." Felix steps in behind her, shrugging off his coat, giving me a small, steady nod. His way of saying we're okay. "Show Aunt Charlotte," I urge Ava, smoothing the edge of her costume as she turns to Charlotte, chatting animatedly about her candy haul. Felix drops onto the couch beside me, his hand finding mine, squeezing gently. "How are you holding up?" he asks, eyes searching my face. I let out a shaky breath, pressing my free hand to my chest like I'm trying to hold myself together. "I'm trying." Felix leans back, glancing toward Ava, his jaw tightening. Mitchell's still quiet. His eyes flick back to mine, sharp and certain. "But I know him. He's planning his move. It's coming." I nod slowly, my fingers curling tighter around his. "We'll be ready," he says softly, his thumb brushing over my knuckles. "You're not doing this alone." The house feels too big without them, too damn quiet. It doesn't even feel real. How did it come to this? One minute, I was walking through the door to a warm home. Ava's laughter bouncing off the walls, Anna's soft smile waiting for me in the kitchen. A family, my family. But now it's just empty space, empty chairs at the table, empty silence where life used to be. No more "Daddy, you are home," followed by excited squeals and giggles. No more welcoming kiss from my wife. I never realized how loud love could be, until it was gone. I stand in the kitchen, leaning against the counter, staring out the window like the answers to my screwed-up life are out there somewhere in the falling leaves. The three-bedroom house that used to feel alive with laughter, chatter, footsteps running down the hall, feels like a hollow shell now. Anna's touch is everywhere, but her presence is gone. I don't even realize what time she even came to the house to pack some of their stuff and pick up her car as well. Did that mean they were not coming back home now? And for how long? A month? 2? I had noticed 2 drawers emptied out, and I couldn't tell what else she had taken. Anna always managed the household. The silence digs under my skin, scratches at the edges of my sanity. The fridge hums, the clock ticks, but there's no soft footsteps padding across the floors, no smell of coffee brewing or Ava's giggles echoing through the hallway. The house feels too big without them. Too damn quiet. It doesn't even feel real. How did it come to this? One minute, I was walking through the door to a warm home. Ava's laughter bouncing off the walls, Anna's soft smile waiting for me in the kitchen. A family. My family. But now it's just empty space, empty chairs at the table, empty silence where life used to be. No more "Daddy, you are home," followed by excited squeals and giggles. No more welcoming kiss from my wife. I never realized how loud love could be, until it was gone. I stand in the kitchen, leaning against the counter, staring out the window like the answers to my screwed-up life are out there somewhere in the falling leaves. The three-bedroom house that used to feel alive with laughter, chatter, footsteps running down the hall, feels like a hollow shell now. Anna's touch is everywhere, but her presence is gone. I don't even realize what time she even came to the house to pack some of their stuff and pick up her car as well. Did that mean they were not coming back home now? And for how long? A month? 2? I had noticed 2 drawers emptied out and I couldn't tell what else she had taken. Anna always managed the household. The silence digs under my skin, scratches at the edges of my sanity. The fridge hums, the clock ticks, but there's no soft footsteps padding across the floors, no smell of coffee brewing or Ava's giggles echoing through the hallway. I rake a hand through my hair, rubbing the back of my neck. What the hell did I do? Yesterday, I went to see Ava at school. Couldn't help it. I needed to see her, to remind myself that some piece of this mess still belonged to me. She was on the playground, pink jacket zipped up to her chin, her curls bouncing as she ran toward me with that big, beautiful smile that's always made me weak. "Daddy!" she squealed, running into my arms like nothing was wrong, like I wasn't the reason everything fell apart. I knelt down, hugged her tight, my heart twisting so hard I could barely breathe. I kissed the top of her head, breathed her in. She smelled like soap and crayons. But then, God. She looked up at me with those big eyes and asked, "Daddy, if Mommy finds out you saw me, will she stop loving me too?" The words rooted me to the damn ground. I felt the air knock right out of me. My chest caved in on itself. I stammered something. Anything to reassure her, but all I could hear was the echo of her innocent question bouncing around my skull, over and over. What kind of father makes his daughter ask that? I told her not to tell Mommy, that it was just our little secret, and that I promised to win back Mommy's love. But the way she looked at me, like she was trying to figure out what was right and what was wrong, and it broke me. I slammed my fist lightly against the counter now, the guilt settling deeper in my bones. I thought I was bored of the routine, the same dinner conversations, the same bedtime stories, the same tired sex in the same damn bed. I thought I needed more, excitement, spontaneity. And when she came along, offering exactly that, I didn't think twice. She asked me to join her on a trip to Singapore. First, I told myself it was just for work, just a break, but it wasn't just a trip. It was nights that blurred into mornings, expensive hotels, sex that was wild and new and reckless. I was drunk on it. Then it was Istanbul, then London, Cancun. We were unstoppable. Two people with no strings, no consequences, or so I told myself. I felt alive for the first time in years. She made me feel like I was still that young guy who hadn't given up his life for a new baby, new wife, mortgage and school runs. Now I feel like the biggest fool on earth. I slam the fridge door shut, grabbing a beer even though it's barely 10 in the morning. Screw it. I crack it open, lean against the counter, my mind spinning, the house pressing in on me like it knows I don't belong here anymore. I'm halfway through the bottle when I hear the front door creak open. Shit. I freeze, the bottle halfway to my lips, my body going cold. She has a key, of course, but I wasn't expecting her. She steps into the kitchen like she owns the place, but for a second, I almost don't recognize her. The oversized sunglasses swallow half her face, a wool scarf wrapped tight around her neck, and that hat pulled so low over her brow it could pass for a disguise. "What the hell is this?" I mutter, setting the bottle down on the counter harder than I mean to. The clink echoes through the empty house. She peels off the glasses slowly, like she's unveiling some kind of secret. Her eyes, sharp and bright, lock onto mine. "Your brother-in-law has someone following you." Freeze. "Anna's serious. She wants full custody. She's building a case against you." The words hit harder than I expect. They suck the air right out of my lungs. "And," she adds, twisting the knife, "she's divorcing you." I stagger back a step, blinking as if that'll somehow change what I just heard. My throat tightens, words scraping against it like sandpaper. "What?" My voice cracks, raw and disbelieving. "Why the hell are you here then? If Anna's got someone watching me, you showing up makes this worse." "Why?" She shrugs off her coat, dropping it onto the counter like she has all the time in the world. "I'm not going to stop coming here just because her brother hired someone. Let them watch. They'll only see what I let them." Her confidence, the way she moves like she's untouchable, grates at me. "I mean it," I snap, raking a hand through my hair. This isn't the time for you to play games. But she's already stepping closer. Too close, sliding her hands up my chest. Her fingers curl at the nape of my neck, tilting my face toward hers, her sweet scent swirling around me, that damn perfume, intoxicating and suffocating all at once. "Let's go away together," she whispers, her lips brushing the shell of my ear. "Forget this mess. You, me. Start over. Somewhere new. Somewhere no one knows us." I jerk back, shoving her hands away. "No." Her eyes narrow. "No? Or you won't." "I can't." I growl, the words scraping up from my chest like broken glass. "I love my wife. I love Ava. I won't walk away from them." Her face hardens, twisting into something sharp and unforgiving. "Love?" she sneers. "Don't insult me, Mitchell. You had no trouble forgetting them when you were flying halfway across the world with me. Cancun, London, Singapore, Barcelona. Was that love too?" I slam my palms against the counter, the sound cracking through the kitchen. "That was a mistake." Her eyes flash, dangerous and dark. "A mistake?" She lets out a low laugh, the sound bitter. "That's rich. You didn't look like you were making a mistake when you were buried deep inside me in that five-star suite in Istanbul." I flinch, pressing my palms harder into the cold stone, as if grounding myself could keep me from unraveling. She steps forward again, her voice dropping lower, silkier, like a blade sliding into skin. "I'm not going to wait around for you to get your shit together. Mitchell, you don't get to string me along anymore." I lift my head, meeting her eyes dead on, the anger rising fast now, burning away the guilt. "And you don't get to stand here acting like you're the victim. You knew exactly what this was." Her lips curl into a slow, dangerous smile. "Did I? Because I think we've crossed that line, haven't we?" She leans closer, her voice tightening. "You think Anna divorcing you changes anything for me? I've been patient long enough. If you're not going to fight for us, maybe I should expose everything." My jaw clenches so hard it aches. "You wouldn't." Her smile widens, sweet and poisonous all at once. "Wouldn't I? I could drop Felix a little message, let Anna know every detail. She wouldn't just get full custody, she'd rip you to shreds." I snort, pushing away from the counter. "You do that, and you lose too. Don't forget who you're married to." "You think your husband wouldn't love to know what you've been doing on your little business trips with me?" Her smile falters, just for a second, but it's enough. I press in, voice low and biting. "We've both got a lot to lose. You expose me. You expose yourself. You ready for that fallout?" Silence stretches between us, heavy and hot. Finally, she straightens, adjusting the scarf at her neck like nothing's happened. "I'll give you time, but not much." She grabs her sunglasses and her coat, flings it over her shoulder, and strides out of the kitchen, leaving me standing there with my heart pounding, the taste of regret thick in my mouth. God, what have I done? Felix is inviting us over for dinner. Anna's voice is casual as she pulls plates from the cupboard, setting them neatly on the table. "He wants us to meet the girlfriend he's been dating for a while now." My jaw ticks. I hate being in Felix's space. I always have. Always will. Her brother hates me. Has since Anna and I got together? The guy looks at me like I stole his prize cow. Every damn time we're in the same room, I feel it. The tension humming beneath the surface, and I always have to play nice, pretend we're good, like I don't know he's sizing me up, waiting for me to screw up. Fucking annoying, but I swallow it down, plastering on my best fake smile. Good for him. Anna doesn't notice my irritation, too busy packing up Ava's snack bag, chatting about how nice it'll be to catch up. I nod along, but my stomach churns with the idea of sitting across from Felix again, pretending we're one big happy family. We pull up outside Felix's house, one of his earlier builds. The guy knows how to build, I'll give him that. Felix opens the door, dressed casual but sharp. Ava runs ahead, wrapping her little arms around his legs. It pisses me off, the bond he has with my daughter. He scoops her up with a grin that makes me grit my teeth. Glad you guys could make it. Aha, wouldn't miss it. I lie through my teeth, offering a handshake that's a little too firm. Then she steps into view, and for a second, I forget how to breathe. She's stunning. Long, dark hair that falls in waves over her shoulders. Cornflower blue eyes that seem to flicker with secrets. She smiles politely at Anna, but when her gaze flicks to me, there's a moment of something hot and sharp that passes between us before she masks it with innocence. Introductions are quick. She's charming, poised, the perfect hostess. But every time Felix's back is turned, she smirks at me. A subtle, knowing curve of her lips that makes my blood heat. Anna was docile and not really spontaneous, but she just had that fire. I should have looked away, should have ignored it, but I didn't. Later, we're all seated on the couch. Ava snuggled into Anna's side, Felix pouring wine. Conversation flows easily. Felix bragging about some new contract, Anna chiming in about school events for Ava. Then Anna asks the girlfriend, "So, what do you do?" From the little Felix has mentioned, it sounds like you've been all over. She leans forward, crossing her legs slowly, her smile widening just enough. I'm an international food critic. I travel a lot for work. Reviewing restaurants, hotels, always on the move. I raise my brows, genuinely impressed. Sounds like a dream job. I've always wanted to travel more, see the world. Her eyes catch mine, lingering just a second too long. Maybe you should. The air crackles between us. Anna doesn't notice. Felix doesn't notice. But I feel it. That heat. That unspoken dare. A year later, she's married to Felix now. Ring on her finger. Smiles that never quite reach her eyes when they're out together. I feel more restless than ever. The same house, the same routine. Work, home, family dinners. Same everything. Then one. I am in my office when I receive a WhatsApp message from her out of nowhere. Barcelona next month. Big event, Michelin-starred restaurants, luxury hotels. Ever wanted to tag along? I stare at the message, my pulse racing. I shouldn't respond. But my fingers move anyway. Sounds tempting, but not sure Felix would approve of his wife and me jetting off together. A brief pause before her reply. Who says he needs to know? Barcelona was electric. The city pulsed beneath our feet, narrow streets, the smell of tapas and wine in the air. She wore a red dress that clung to her curves like sin itself. Every glance, every brush of her arm against mine was fire. The first night, she leaned in close over dinner, her breath warm against my ear. Still thinking about your wife, she teased, her lips barely grazing my skin. I knew I should have said yes, but the truth is, I wasn't thinking about anyone but her. And if I am honest, the thought of fucking that arrogant prick's wife was more exhilarating than ever. So, what's the way forward, son? Dad asks quietly. His eyes fixed on me, deep concern shadowing his usually steady gaze. For a moment, I can't even speak. The words are there, crowding at the back of my throat, but they're too damn heavy to move. Some people say it's unmanly to cry, but I've always believed it takes a real man to cry when something worth crying for is lost. And right now, I feel like I've lost everything. I rake a hand through my hair, my chest hollow, my heart raw. When the private investigator handed me the photos, I thought I was prepared. I'd hired him, after all. I wanted the truth, didn't I? I had wanted to nail that son of a bitch down finally, but nothing could have prepared me for those images. My wife cupping Mitchell's face, her eyes soft, lips tilted in a smile I used to think was only reserved for me. The two of them, close enough to taste each other's breath, sharing something that wasn't meant for the outside world to see. I feel like I've been punched in the gut, like the ground's crumbled beneath me, and I'm just standing here, still pretending I've got solid footing. Why do people think it's okay to rip a family apart like this? If you're unhappy, if you don't love someone anymore, say it, walk away. But this deception, this cowardly betrayal, it's like they held a blade to my back while smiling to my face. Why have an affair and pretend everything's fine? Rasp, my voice breaking. What's the point? What's the damn point of hurting someone like that? Dad's quiet. his hands clasped between his knees, his face lined with sadness. He doesn't say much, never has. But when he looks at me like that, it's worse than anything he could say. Finally, he clears his throat. Are you going to tell Anna? The question I have been asking myself since I found out this morning that I just had to fly over to seek refuge at the man who made me who I am today. A real man. A real father, not a father like that asshole son of a bitch Mitchell. Anna. Sweet, trusting Anna. Already shattered, already trying to piece herself together after Mitchell's betrayal. How the hell do I tell her that her husband and my wife were in this together? That it wasn't just a one-time thing? That the people she trusted most, her family, were stabbing her in the back? But can I really keep this from her? I swallow hard, pressing my palms against my knees, my whole body tight with rage and grief. I close my eyes and all I see is Ava's face, her smile, her little hand tugging on her mom's dress. This isn't just about me. It's about Anna, Ava, our family. I don't know. I admit finally, my voice rough. I don't know if I can do that to her. She's barely holding it together as it is. Dad leans back, sighs deep, slow. But is it better she hears it from you? Because if she does not, she might look at it from a different perspective, which is you are trying to protect your wife even after the betrayal. I nod slowly. The truth always finds a way to the surface. That's the problem with secrets, they don't stay buried. I clench my fists, stare down at the floor. I'm going to handle this first, I say, my voice steel beneath the hurt. I need to confront her, find out why and for how long. Dad nods, but I can feel his worry. Then what? He asks softly. I swallow down the lump in my throat. Then I tell Anna. Because she deserves to know. She deserves the truth, even if it wrecks her, even if it wrecks me. Son, Dad says gently, his voice steady like always. I'd advise you to let her come here, have the confrontation here in this house, not in your home, where Anna or Ava could overhear, or somewhere public where it could turn into a scene neither of you can come back from. I nod slowly, swallowing the bitterness rising in my throat. He's right. The last thing I need is for Anna or Ava to be caught in the crossfire of this mess. That's a good idea, Dad. But even saying that feels like an admission of how bad this is. I pull out my phone, my fingers heavy as I tap out the message. Me. Hey, can you come over to Dad's as soon as possible? He's had an emergency, but don't tell Anna, don't want to worry her unnecessarily. I stare at the words for a second, my jaw clenching before I hit send. Lying feels wrong, but not as wrong as what she's done to me. The read receipt pops up almost instantly, her reply following like clockwork. Wifey. Oh no, how bad is it? Puffed, as if you care. A woman who could lay beside me every night while sneaking behind my back doesn't know the first thing about caring. Me. Don't worry, just pack some extra clothes, for both of us. I let the message hang there, watching the 3 blinking dots as she types. Wifey. Okay, I'll be there in a few hours. There's no going back now. I've always been good at wearing masks. It's easy. A smile here, a gentle hand on Anna's shoulder there. Sweet words about Ava, like she's my own niece. I play the doting wife, the caring sister-in-law. Angel on the outside, but beneath me, there's fire, hunger. A want I've never once apologized for. Felix thought he could keep me at arm's length with his workaholic tendencies, shutting me out when he got too busy, too distracted. But Mitchell saw me, tired of the perfect little wife act. He craved the same freedom I did, the same rush, the same escape. Now, standing here in Felix's childhood home, I can feel my world teetering. The walls are too close, the air too thick. He sits there, arms crossed, jaw clenched so tight I can almost hear his teeth grind, and on the coffee table between us are photos. I tried my hardest to be careful, but those photos were taken that same night Anna found out. How is that possible? They were laid out like evidence at a crime scene. I don't flinch. I can't. How long? he demands, his voice low, tight with rage. I tilt my head, looking at him in shock, whilst trying my hardest to appear hurt by his accusations. I don't know what you're talking about, Felix. How could you think that of me and with Mitchell? That is preposterous. He stands abruptly, pushing the chair back so hard it scrapes against the hardwood. Don't lie to me, Charlotte. The heat in his glare could melt steel, but I hold my ground. Innocence is my shield. It is clearly photoshopped, I say smoothly, gesturing at the damning images. Someone's obviously trying to set me up. You know how these things go? It could be anybody. Maybe a restaurant owner who did not like my review. You know this isn't the first time someone has threatened me. He looks like he might explode. His fists clench, knuckles whitening. I've twisted men before. I can twist Felix too. You think I'd do this? To Anna? To Ava? Widen my eyes. Let tears prick the corners. I love them like my own. You know that. But the flicker of hesitation I'm looking for doesn't come. Felix's jaw ticks. You're a better actress than I gave you credit for. I step toward him, lowering my voice. Felix, baby, you've been working too much. You're stressed, imagining things. I reach out, let my fingers graze his arm, but he jerks away like I've burned him. You disgust me. His voice breaks on the words, and for the first time, something inside me quivers. Then the front door creaks open. Footsteps. I freeze. He stands abruptly, pushing the chair back so hard it scrapes against the hardwood. Don't lie to me, Charlotte. The heat in his glare could melt steel, but I hold my ground. Innocence is my shield. It is clearly photoshopped, I say smoothly, gesturing at the damning images. Someone's obviously trying to set me up. You know how these things go. It could be anybody. Maybe a restaurant owner who did not like my review. You know this isn't the first time someone has threatened me. He looks like he might explode. His fists clench, knuckles whitening. I've twisted men before. I can twist Felix too. You think I'd do this? To Anna? To Ava? Widen my eyes. Let tears prick the corners. I love them like my own. You know that. But the flicker of hesitation I'm looking for doesn't come. Felix's jaw ticks. You're a better actress than I gave you credit for. I step toward him, lowering my voice. Felix, baby, you've been working too much. You're stressed, imagining things. I reach out, let my fingers graze his arm, but he jerks away like I've burned him. You disgust me. His voice breaks on the words, and for the first time, something inside me quivers. Then the front door creaks open. Footsteps. I freeze. Anna. Dad's voice drifts from the hallway. Hey, sweetheart. What's going on? I hear her ask, her voice laced with concern, soft and gentle like always. My heart stutters. Felix is too annoyed to notice that there is someone else around. How could you do that to us? He snaps before I can stop him. To Anna? She's treated you like a sister. How wicked are you, Charlotte? I whip my head toward the door just as Anna gasps. Loud, choked. Ava's small voice. Mommy? Everything stills. Shit, shit, shit. Felix's dad moves fast, ushering Ava outside, his hand on her tiny shoulder, murmuring something about showing her the garden. Anna stands frozen at the threshold, her eyes wide, glassy, darting between Felix and me. What? Her voice cracks, confusion bleeding into horror. Felix, I croak, desperate, reaching for any lifeline. Don't. She's been sleeping with Mitchell. His words slam down like a hammer, final, unforgiving. Anna's hand flies to her mouth. Tears spring to her eyes, her whole body recoiling as if she's been struck. No, she breathes, shaking her head. No, you're lying. Anna, listen to me. I cut in, my voice honeyed, soft, my last defense. Felix. He's spiraling, and I swear to God this is all photoshopped. Stop. Anna's voice cracks sharp through the room. Her chest heaves as she stares at me, betrayal etched deep in her face. I step toward her, hands trembling but outstretched, playing the part I've mastered. Anna, please, you know me. I thought I knew you. Felix stands behind me, his fury radiating off him in waves. Anna shakes her head, a broken sound escaping her throat, and she turns, bolting through the door, leaving behind nothing but silence and shattered trust. For once, I have no words left to spin.